Nosferatu in the Roaring Twenties, a reflection of post-war anxiety. Ah, the Roaring Twenties. That jazzy, razzmatazz era where flappers flapped and speakeasies were as common as uninvited relatives at a wedding. Yet, beneath the glitz and glamour lurked a pesky little vampire film called Nosferatu. Number 5. Nosferatu, a ghoulish mirror. Emerging from the shadows, Nosferatu wasn't just a film about a pointy-eared bloodsucker. It was a mirror, a twisted reflection capturing the psyche of a world ravaged by war. The vampire's eerie presence encased the creeping fear of the unknown and the unsettling sensation that the aftermath of the Great War had left behind, a world perpetually living alongside its ghosts. The sinister and stoic Count Orlik stood for more than just a villain. He symbolized the anxiety that stained the fabric of society, jittery from the shockwaves of conflict. Number 4. The Shadows of Shell Shock. If Nosferatu were a person, he'd probably have a reserved seat on every therapist's couch in the 1920s. Post-war Europe was reeling from an unprecedented wave of what we now call PTSD, back then known as shell shock. Our pale vampy Orlik, with his haunted eyes and predatory instincts, seemed to embody the mental scars and phantasms haunting the soldiers who had returned from the front. His lurking menace was a direct extension of the emotional shadows cast long after the last cannon fired. Number 3. Jazz, Jitters, and Nosferatu. As the Charleston beat went toe-tapping across dance floors, another rhythm lingered in the background, the rapid pulse of societal anxiety. While jazzy melodies blared and folks danced their war-induced jitters away, Nosferatu skulked in the cultural back alleys, a solemn reminder of the underlying dread that not even 1,000 saxophones could silence. The sharp contrast between the film's eerie tranquility and the era's frenetic jazz helped amplify the underlying sense of unease, lending a creepy cadence to the decade's syncopated beat. Number 2. Economic boom or bust, a fragile prosperity. Roaring Twenties, More like the teetering 20s. While everyone was dancing on the proverbial, and sometimes literal, rooftops, the economy was doing a precarious tightrope walk. Post-war prosperity was like a glittery facade hiding a crumbling structure. Enter Nosferatu, stage left, to snatch the illusion of security right out from under society's feet. The film's looming figure struck a nerve, reinforcing the underlying fear of instability, as fragile banks and jittery stock markets mirrored the fragile psyche of a world yearning for stability. Number 1. From bloodshed to vampire dread. The world had just come out of an era where bloodshed was an unfortunate norm, and out pops Nosferatu, turning that blood-soaked anxiety into a gothic nightmare. The trench horrors had morphed into the shadowy figure of Count Orlik, symbolizing the pervasive dread of a terror that couldn't be eradicated with peace treaties and armistices. Humanity's latent fears, ripened from the trauma of war, found an apt avatar in the creepy, silhouette-shrouded vampire, reminding audiences that some nightmares don't end when you wake up. And there you have it. From jitterbugs to jittery nerves, Nosferatu wasn't just a flick about fang-tastic terror. It was a bleak, batty Broadway show of the post-war psyche. As we close the coffin lid on this reflection, it's clear that the vampire on screen was more than just a ghoul. He was a herald of an anxiety-infused age. So, the next time you see Nosferatu blinking his creepy, rodent-like eyes at you, remember, he's more than just a nocturnal nuisance. He's a relic of our darkest fears brought to life.